I'm Alan Osborne. Tomorrow is, or t- Tomorrow morning is Veterans Day, so this is my Veterans Day show. Anyway, a couple things I want to get out of the way before I start talking. Sorry about the grainy picture, but it's a picture of an old picture taken a old school way. It's not obviously no AI generated, but first thing I'd like to say in this show is been meaning to do this is recently lost a couple people that I'd like to acknowledge. Recently, a man named Johnny Smith passed away, and in Walton County politics, which I talk a lot about, Mr. Smith is somebody who befriended me, and it's fitting on Veterans Day because Mr. Smith's father was actually on Patton's staff. I got a chance to talk to Mr. Smith's father before he passed away, and I took him for a Veterans Day event to the base, and Mr. Smith. So Johnny Smith of Mossy Head. Sorry about that. Johnny Smith of Mossy Head passed away recently, like I said, and I just want to recognize him. Some of you may know him. He ran for county commissioner. He was a good friend to me that always told the truth, who served a lot of years on the sheriff's department in Okaloosa County. Like I said, he ran for commissioner out there one time, and I just thought a lot of him. He was a man of honesty, and he'd tell it to you like it was. I don't know what's going on with my computer. Anyway, I hope I fixed it. But looked like some kind of update tried to go on while I was doing my show. But anyway, back to the show. Mr. Smith, you're a good man. I'm sorry for your loss, Helen, and I'm sorry for the loss of the Mossy Head community. Secondly, we lost Larry Wayne Bell that I haven't recognized. Larry Wayne would be what somebody you would think that Alan would not want to remember, but he is. Because he's what somebody called an old good old boy. I want to tell you something about Larry Wayne. Larry Wayne didn't like what was going on in Walton County. And me and Larry became kind of friends the last year or two. And we talked a lot about what was wrong. He was very honest about how it had been and what wasn't right about it and how it should be. And he died way too young, leaving some young children behind. And we just don't choose when we get to go. But Larry was a good guy. He didn't mind telling you the truth. He didn't mind telling you a lot of things, but he sure didn't mind telling you the truth. And I wish I had been here for Johnny and Larry Wayne's service, but I just couldn't be here. But I thought a lot of these guys, and just wanted to recognize them when people pass and they've touched you in your life. You need to recognize them. And anybody that knows me and knows me at all personally, the Constitution is a really serious issue with me. I don't like it when people use it for their own personal gain in life. It's the people's document. So, fellas, Godspeed to you, and I'll miss both of you men. So, back to Veterans Day. I thought I'd take time to thank all the guys that I served with over the years in Army and Air Force Special Operations. And I go back and I started thinking about it this morning. It's an awful picture, I know, but if you look right there, that's a very young 22-year-old me about to leave on his first day in combat. And that's my steed right behind it. In fact, I was in the front seat of that is Snake 29 right there. Right next to me is CW3 Carmen Purcell and W1 Scott Ross. Specialist Hargrove, his aerial observer. We were a scout weapons team, and Hollis was our crew chief. And we had no idea what we were about to get ourselves into. The sky was foggy and dark like that, and it was dreary. And we were flying Vietnam-style aircraft with little navigation, primitive radios set up for a war in Europe, with hand-painted aircraft ready to go get Saddam. And that's what veterans do. They stand up for the people who can't go do that kind of thing to make sure America stays free. Now, Memorial Day is to remember the dead, but I'm remembering the veterans. And I call out to you veterans. We must save this country. We must. It will be the veterans who save the country, who understand the loyalty is not to people, it's not to party. It's to the document. And people are upset right now because we're having to take radical steps in immigration, not because we want to, it's because we have to, because it's out of control. The borders of America should never be unsecure. And as unsecure as the borders are, so will be the Constitution. And we can't have that. People ask me, Alan, why do you get into this? And let me tell you something. Doing what I've done and what I've seen in corruption in the last 20 years destroys people's lives. I'm sick of doing this. Why do I have to get on here and point out the obvious to some of these politicians? The people like the people standing behind me back when I was a really young man, that's somewhere in the edge of Iraq in 1991, we didn't do it for our own personal glory. We did it to make sure that the people went before us in America didn't do so in vain. And we owe these people not to squander what is America. It's more important than party. And by God, the Democrat Party seems to have become Islamic extremists. As a person who personally responded during the 9/11 incident, I am offended that we have an Islamic Muslim running New York City, and I don't care who hears that. I am sorry, I can't get the taste out of my mouth. I can't. I spent most of my life battling the Russians or Islamic extremists. Never once did my beeper ever go off because the Baptists got out of hand or the Hare Krishnas had tried to take over the airport. My beeper never went off for the out of control Episcopals. No, that didn't happen. No, I never launched my aircraft after the Methodist. Now, people put too much God in politics because I don't think God blesses what stupid man is doing right now. I really think God's given us the tools to stop doing stupid shit. Because if you're not mentally handicapped and you have all your appendages and the ability to speak, then you can take action. But we cannot let these politicians on both sides of the aisle, both sides. And I'm going to go over some shows recently. You cannot have an agenda when it comes to the Constitution other than the American people. And there's going to be some hard exposures. I say that there's some criminal things going on in our law enforcement and in politics in the panhandle of Florida. And we're going to have some hard talks about that. And you know why? Because nobody deserves to have their life destroyed by politics. It affects everybody around that person who's taking it on. And anybody who's my friend or family has had to bear that burden just because I took it on. But you know what? Somebody has to do it. And it's going to take all of us not to lose America. Look around at your children. Look around at your friends' grandchildren if you're my age, because I ain't got none. And wonder, what are we going to leave them? Is it going to be America? My family was immigrants, but you don't see me going around dancing an Irish or Welsh jig. Shit, they moved here hundreds of years ago. We're Americans. You know, if you want to come to America, come here to be an American, not to turn it into the place that you left. All these people who could not fix their own country or grew up under ideals of people that had no bravery, do you think they're going to fix it? Do you think that New York mayor's going to fix it? People who make a lot of money and will take in New York, it's a proven mathematical fact, will take home less than half of it. That is not the American dream. We need to get all this out of politics for the veterans, for the future, and for the Constitution. We need to do something. You know, I'm about to check out all this. I got a few issues I'm putting to bed, but I've done my part. you know, approaching 40 years or more of either public service or trying to be involved in public events, whether it be politics or scouting or doing something for my community. If it ain't doing nothing but getting on here and telling the truth. But this ain't easy stuff, and I'll tell you this. I read a deposition today that had to do with the criminal charges against Joe Turner and Quinn Robertson, and I've never seen such a queef of information. And you're going to see that there was an agenda when those men were charged, but that's not for tonight. It's a veteran show. Like I say, to the men and women I serve with, that's right, girls are killers too. I won't say to Allison, Tracy, and Lisa, and the girls that flew on my crew with me, I thought a lot of you, as brave as any American I ever flew beside. And to the people who were, and that Scott Ross over there on the far side, a little bald, as we called him, Fwoj. That young man right there is about 22 too. He looks ancient, don't he? But you know, we were just kids volunteering to go get Saddam. And that's what it's about with veterans. The big rolling thunder of the mighty power of Schwarzkopf's army launched upon tyranny in the Middle East. America could be that strong again. But you're going to have to get out of your living rooms. You're going to have to come to public events. And you're going to have to demand, even of the Republicans, if you're a Republican, you're going to have to demand transparency, honesty, and accountability in our government from the local level to the national level, or we're going to lose America. We could lose it. But I don't want to believe that. I want your kids and grandkids and future generations to have a chance at what I had. And I'm just worried they won't. So to all the veterans I serve with, I appreciate it. Men and women, I salute the people who help me, because nobody wins a war without a team. And America, at that time, the military was non-political. It didn't matter if a Democrat or a Republican was in his office. It was, yes, sir, here we go. And that's the way it should be. Freedom isn't free. Thank a veteran. I'm Alan Osborne, and you can't make this shit up, but you can unelect it. You could go to a public meeting. You could stand up and say what you see as obvious. Save America. Just do a little part. You don't have to create a YouTube TV show. But if you went to 2 or 3 meetings a year about something that you were passionate about locally, you could change. You might not change the world, but you could change your community, and that's how it starts. Until next time, I'm Alan Osborne. Y'all keep them straight, you hear?